What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a new release film from A24 that has been out for a couple of weeks now, but it was a really limited run in most cities when it was first announced, and it took a little while to get to theaters where I live. As soon as it was available in the theaters near me, I wanted to jump on and see this one right away because I'd been hearing really great things about it. Most of the reviews that have come out for this film have been glaringly positive, and I'm always excited whenever A24 puts their name on something. They're not always hits, but most of the time they're at least interesting and well put together and well thought out. So I was very excited to watch the movie I'm going to be discussing today, and the film I'm going to be talking about is Past Lives. Past Lives is directed by Celine Song. Nora and Hae Sung, two deeply connected childhood friends, are wrest apart after Nora's family immigrates from South Korea. 20 years later, they are reunited for one fateful week as they confront notions of love and destiny. So I saw like one trailer for this movie prior to viewing it, and it was when I was at the theater, and I was immediately engaged with what the story was about. It looked like it was really well shot. I was very excited to see this movie, and I'm pleased to say this is one of my favorite movies I've watched all year. I've been lucky these past couple weeks to see two films that have just been absolutely knockout and incredible movies, and this is by no means any exception. It is phenomenal in every way. Incredible cinematography, fantastic performances, super thought-provoking, very nuanced, and I'm looking forward to discussing it more throughout the review. So at the beginning of the film, we're introduced to Nora and Hae Sung, who Nora goes by a Korean name at the beginning of the film. They're both young kids that go to the same school. They spend a lot of time together. They have a lot of fun together, and we're shown early on that Nora's family is very artistic. I can't remember what both of her parents' professions are, but it's shown really early on that they're both in the art world. They're both very creatively minded, and they announce to their children at the beginning of the film that they are going to be moving to the United States of America. And so Nora finds out about this. She's spending time with her friends at school, and eventually she tells Hae Sung about this. Her parents end up scheduling them this little like date that they go on when they're kids. They're spending a lot of time together, and they have this very brief interaction of saying goodbye to one another. And it's very quick, it's very beautifully shot, and then we jump forward into the future. I believe it's like 12 or 13 years. And the two of them are living their separate lives. Hae Sung has been forced to do military service, which the film tells us is normal for most 20-year-olds in South Korea. Nora, on the other hand, is pursuing her career in writing, and he tries to find her online through her dad's movie's Facebook page. The two of them end up connecting over Facebook and having these really long conversations with one another. Well, the film ends up being the two of them being in connection at different periods of time during their lives. And the two of them live very different lives, very separate lives, and they end up converging for this 1 week together where they kind of spend time having these really lengthy discussions about like fate and destiny and love. And the movie is just absolutely beautiful and thoughtful and really introspective. If I had to compare this to anything, I would say most similarly, you could compare it to like Linklater's Before trilogy. It's different in the sense that like the Before movies are like one day over these big span of years. This is like longer periods of time throughout a different span of years. But it is a story about like, does fate exist, and are we destined to be with one another? Because these kids at a very young age, they loved each other wholly as far as like, you know, what kids can understand. They cared about each other, they liked being around each other, they had things in common, and it's shown very beautifully at the beginning of the movie through these scenes that aren't even subtitled, where it's just the kids really enjoying time with each other, and there's this like true connection between these two young people. And then when we jump forward into the future and they're communicating over the internet, you can kind of see this connection building with them again in a very natural way. And even though the kids were only, I believe, 12 or 13 when they first separated, and then you're thinking this is 12 years into the future, so they're probably like 24, 25-year-olds, they're reconnecting in a way that feels like this is meant to be, but you have two people who are living very different lives. Hae Sung's life is very much rooted in South Korean traditional ideals for what a man should be, in that culture. He's served in the military. He's still living at home with his family in his 20s, whereas Nora is completely different. She's pursuing this art career. She's living on her own. She's about to take this residency outside of New York City, so the two of them are living polar opposite lives. And like this whole conversation of like, is this what you want? Would you abandon something for love? Comes up multiple times. And how even though people might feel like they should be connected and that this should be what happens for both of them, that's not necessarily how life works out. And it can be very gut punching. It can rip your heart out at moments, because that's just really the fact of life, right? Is like sometimes, even though people could seemingly be meant for one another, that all the cogs don't necessarily fall into place for that to work out seamlessly or normally. And that yes, they have this very deep, personal, beautiful connection with one another, but it's not necessarily meant for them to spend their lives together. And I think that that's a really difficult thing to explore in a film in a very nuanced way. And Celine Song is able to do it just perfectly in this movie. There's dialogue sequences, but what's so impressive about this film is what's said without the dialogue, through facial expressions, bodily movements, a slight touch, the way the way our two characters are distanced from one another in a specific scene. And there's a lot of really great set pieces in the background as well that really kind of accentuate the subject matter that the film is trying to convey in a really beautiful and poignant way that really stuck with me after I was done watching the film. And this movie hangs on our two lead performers. They are both absolutely phenomenal in every single sequence in this film. You can tell that they are so dedicated to the material. They really come across as these characters in every single way. And it is a movie that will keep you engaged for its whole hour and 40-minute runtime because of just how amazing these performances are. And like I said, it's an unconventional look at love in a way that's hyper realistic to real life struggles that people have, and trying to maintain some form of a relationship when you're super long distance, and could that possibly work out. And the film explores it over a very lengthy period of time. And I thought the time jumps might make it more difficult to stay invested, but it really didn't. It really kept you hooked and engaged from the beginning, and I would highly recommend checking this movie out. It is one of the best movies of the year, if not in contest for my favorite film of the year. It's definitely going to be in that discussion. I'll have to see when I put all these movies together where it falls into place, but it's absolutely beautiful, and I 100% recommend it. So have you seen Past Lives? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was absolutely beautiful. I loved every second of it, and I can't wait to revisit it in the future. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.